What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. Bring you Ravens content every single day. If you want to stay daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But this is another episode of the Trust the Bank podcast. So if you're listening on the podcast platform, we really do appreciate it. And if you're watching this first segment on YouTube and you guys want to check out the next couple of segments, the podcast episodes are always posted before the YouTube segments are even put out. And the podcast episodes usually contain 3 full segments in them. So you can listen to it, on your drive, while you're walking the dog, while you're doing laundry. I don't know, whatever you want to listen to it. You can listen to it on the podcast platforms. Trust the Bank, Baltimore Ravens podcast on wherever you get your podcast. But Joshua, let's get into the first segment right here. Let's talk about one of the biggest trades that has been brought up around the Baltimore Ravens by Baltimore Ravens fans, after we saw Russell Wilson get dealt away from the Seattle Seahawks, they cut Bobby Wagner. It is very clear that they are going in a tanking direction. And with tanking, teams often want to get rid of their best young players because they have value for draft picks, and it's not worth paying them when you're not going to be able to try and contend. So, with that, the Seattle Seahawks have a young superstar wide receiver by the name of DK Metcalf. Joshua, I know you've heard about it. I know you've seen it everywhere. DK Metcalf, Baltimore Ravens, this trade. What are your thoughts on the potential? Do you like the move? Would it be a terrible move? What do you think about bringing DK?
I mean, honestly, y'all, before we even get started, let's talk. I only got one question to McConnell, and I got one question to the Ravens flock. Y'all already know what my question is going to be. Who is our offensive coordinator?
Mr. Gregory Roman.
Mr. Gregory Roman. What does Gregory Roman love to do?
Not give the ball to good players.
Hey, you done said it, my brother, not me, So, with that being said, if we bring in I'm not even going to say prima donna, I'm going to say someone that is well-respected around the league, someone that has started building their brand, a DK Metcalf, who we all thought, coming out of Ole Miss and being on an injury was not going to be who he was. But obviously that was wrong because what was he doing while he was rehabbing? That young man was working out and taking a whole bunch of pictures, and he showed, that not only he can catch the ball, he can hit the crackbacks like Hines Ward. He can go the distance, but even if the ball get intercepted, he can run down Buda Baker. He is definitely a freak specimen on the offensive side of the ball. Any team, that has an air raid offense would love to have him. So with that being said, and knowing that we have a run-heavy offense and we have, 2 premier wide receivers in Hollywood Brown and Rashad Bateman, I just don't see him getting on the field, or who's going to be the odd man out that loses, those snaps. Because right now, with a 3-year extension contract to our, Mr. Patrick Ricard, who has more snaps than a tight end, I don't see him coming off the field no time soon with a 3-year extension. So, yes, it's interesting, it's intriguing, but honestly, there would have to be a termination of Gregory Roman, possibly a termination of John Harbaugh, a whole new philosophy. Them willing to open up the vault for Lamar Jackson to really throw the ball and stretch the field, and not just go for that 2-point conversion where everybody just stack up on the right side and it doesn't work. So as intriguing as it sounds, as appealing as it sounds, I don't think it's the best trade. And then on top of that, DK Metcalf, I feel like it's now taking the mindset of a D-Hop or a Michael Thomas. And when I say that, it's like, yo, Seattle's mine. I'm going to step up. I'm going to be the leader. So whoever comes in, like, yo, let's get this work in. Just trust in me, and we'll figure everything out. So I think, he's more acceptive of taking what's being given to him versus, changing his situation. Because I think someone asked him via Twitter about, what about Kansas City? He said, hey, it's too cold out there. So I don't think he wants to leave.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. Guys saying, hey, DK, doors open in Kansas City. He's like, you may want to close that, bud. It's cold out there.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf, a lot of Ravens fans wanted him in the draft. When we drafted Hollywood Brown, we went with Hollywood, the safer pick, it seemed. And, a lot of Ravens fans have regretted that decision. But, in the moment, I'm not going to say one pick was much better than the other. But, the Ravens did what they did. They drafted Hollywood. They rocked with Hollywood. Hollywood's not going anywhere. Lamar has already said this. No, we ain't trading Hollywood. So when you look at DK Metcalf, if the Ravens want to trade for him, yeah, maybe he would help this year. Maybe he would help. That's basically it. Because DK Metcalf's contract, he doesn't have a fifth-year option. He wasn't a first-round pick. And DK Metcalf, everyone in the NFL knows that man is going to get paid. He saw the contracts. He saw the contract of Christian Kirk. Yep. If you see Christian Kirk's contract and you're a wide receiver, like DK Metcalf, who is a much better player than Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk's not bad, but DK Metcalf is a special wide receiver. You're looking to get $25 million. Like, you were looking to get the bag. The Baltimore Ravens are not paying $25 million for a wide receiver. They just are not doing that. And so trading for him, you'd have to give up a lot of assets because, it's just, that the Seattle Seahawks are trading away one of their best young assets.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to give up a lot, and you're not going to get much out of him in the long-term future. Yeah, he would be a starter. He would probably be the best receiver on the Ravens next year. But that would be just about all you get him for, and he would cause a lot of drama. Russell Wilson is one of the best, I don't even know what to call it, kumbaya quarterbacks. I don't know. He's got this calming effect. Everyone,
he's a mediator.
Everyone just kind of listens to Russ. Everyone's friends with Russ. I'm pretty sure he holds like Bible study on the weekend, or I know he holds like team groups and stuff like that. And like everyone goes, everyone's really good friends with Russ. DK is incredibly close with Russell Wilson. And yet, how many times on the sideline have we seen DK Metcalf screaming, throwing his helmet, just getting in the face of Pete Carroll, getting in the face of Russ, getting in the face of their offensive coordinator? He wants the ball because he knows he's a great player and he's more physical than the other guys. He wants that ball. Russell Wilson will be playing a good game. He'll be getting it sometimes to Tyler Lockett or whoever it is that he's throwing it to. And he can't get it to DK sometimes because DK may be covered, but it's DK Metcalf. If you throw it up, he can probably go up and get it. He wants that ball. He wants that jump ball. He wants those opportunities. The Ravens don't give those opportunities. The Ravens don't throw a lot of jump balls. The Ravens don't throw the ball a lot. And so he would be frustrated consistently, not because of the Ravens, Lamar Jackson's inability to throw like Russell Wilson or anything like that. It would be the Ravens don't throw jump balls. The Ravens don't like to throw deep routes. Well, what is DK Metcalf good for? Not saying he can't do anything else, but that's what he likes to do. He likes to get the big play. He likes to get the touchdowns, likes to get the ball. We can't give him the ball nearly enough to satisfy him. And so we would be trading significant draft capital in order to get a player that wouldn't be happy here. And we know what happens when players aren't happy where they are. Look at Odell in Cleveland.
Yep.
I think that would be a very similar situation. Odell is a very good player, but he wasn't happy in Cleveland. It would be a different reason than DK in Baltimore. DK would be unhappy with the play calling and unhappy with the scheme. Odell was unhappy that his quarterback sucked and couldn't get him the football. Different reasons, but both the same outcome where it would just be, okay, yeah, he makes a couple of really good plays. Odell had some good games in Cleveland, but there were just so many games where it's like, Odell's upset. Odell's frustrated. They're not giving it to Odell. What's going on? And then his dad's making highlight tapes, or I guess low light tapes of Baker Mayfield. We don't want to see that. Right. I mean, maybe we do because maybe we'll get rid of Greg Roman. But we're not going to trade for DK to hope that somehow we can get rid of Mr. G-Row. But that's my issue with DK. I think DK is one of my favorite young players in the NFL. I love watching DK play. However, in Baltimore, our system, we need more humble players because we just don't get our wide receivers the ball. It is not a place. I'm not saying no wide receiver wants to come to Baltimore. Guys would love to come here, but not guys that are young superstars that are trying to get a lot of stats so they can get a massive contract. You're not going to get that in Baltimore.
I mean, you said it best. I mean, if it was a Jim Caldwell as OC, T. Martin as OC, Kellen Moore as OC, who else? Heck, I'll even take Eric Bieniemy as an OC. Things will be so different. But we took the lead by storm 2019 by running the ball the way we did. That was one of the most prolific seasons ever out of a football team outside of the old school Dolphins when they had Franco at running back. So it is. Yes, we love wide receivers. I mean, if y'all been following us for the longest time, we know that it's nothing better than having a quarterback and also a quarterback having weapons. We saw what happened in the second playoff appearance with Lamar Jackson. The ball, we could have won that game, but I think it was about between 6 to 9 drops out of our wide receivers.
I think it was 7.
Hey, way too damn many for me,
Oh yeah.
And out of those 7, maybe about 4 of them could have been 7 points. So, I mean, we definitely need guys that can complete the plays, that can stretch the field, that can that can make things happen on their own and stuff like that. But because of what's going on, and I think we have to be honest with ourselves, McConnor, it's a lot of mediocrity going on in Orange Mills. I mean, yeah, we was excited about the change and everything, like the couple additions, for this during this all season, but there still is a level of mediocrity. Shout out to the new president, Sashi Brown. The one question they did ask him, would he be getting involved in the contract talk conversation, about Lamar Jackson? And what did he say? I'm gonna trust Eric DeCosta and the team on this one. I'm not going to interfere. Hey man, I'm not gonna lie to you. As a team president, that might be one of your best. That might be one of your best first moves is interfering. Because if you got a franchise player and you don't have him locked up yet, knowing that if you go ahead and lock him up, that will open up more money for not only for this season, but for the next couple seasons, where you can go ahead and start making pieces, start adding pieces, because we haven't added any pieces, real contingent pieces, since his rookie contract. So now we're playing backseats. We're trying to go forward, but now it's still in a sense we're taking 4 or 5 steps backwards. So like I said, y'all, as much as I would love a big name wide receiver and for us to spread the ball around, the days that we did have Jim Caldwell as an OC or Gary Kubiak as an OC, right now it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So big name guys like that, if I'm one of them, I wouldn't. Baltimore is not appealing to me. If my agent called me about Baltimore, I'm hanging up the phone. I'm like, yo, you disrespected me. Do I need to fire you today? Do I need to get a new agent? That's why we're talking about Baltimore.
Yeah, and it's not like, I mean, I feel like so many wide receivers would love to play with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
They don't want to play in the Ravens scheme because it's so unfriendly. And everyone knows that the Baltimore Ravens will not be paying big money to a wide receiver. They are not going to spend a lot of money on wide receiver. They never have. They probably never will, because philosophically, they just don't want to spend that money. And I'm not against them not paying wide receivers a ton of money. I don't want to pay a wide receiver $20 million. That's just not my style. I'd rather pay, get young guys and then get like really solid players, on a $10 to $12 million deals. That's much more my speed than, the ridiculous $20+ million deals for okay wide receivers in the NFL like Christian Kirk. So
yeah.
Why would we trade for DK when he's not going to be happy about the current state of what he's in, and he's not going to have a future in Baltimore? So what? I get it. I get wanting to bring in the big name because he would be awesome. It would be so cool. Lamar Jackson and DK would have probably 4 or 5 plays this season where you're like, wow, unbelievable duo.
That'd be a show to watch. Honestly, that'd be a show to watch for real.
But it would be one of those unfortunate one-season Netflix originals that we never get to see what actually happens. You know, the cliffhanger at the end.
Oh man, don't remind me.
They won the Super Bowl. Oh, but he's gone. We don't get to see if they can repeat together. That type of thing. That could absolutely happen. So, guys, those are our thoughts on possibly trading for DK Metcalf. In the next segment, we're going to be getting into, another possible trade for another wide receiver that I am much more of a fan of. We're going to be talking about Devontae Parker, but that's going to wrap up this segment. If you're watching on YouTube, go check out the podcast if you want to listen to the next segment, immediately, or you can wait till tomorrow. But let's get